Welcome to the fourth legislative update for the Wyoming Farm Bureau Federation. The 8th of March was the big day for the legislature. They concluded early yesterday evening, the 8th, and they signed the budget bill earlier that day. A number of things happened during the session, but most of the things that happened this week were conference committees and discussions on the budget. A couple of bills that failed over the last week were the House Bill 34, which was subdivisions. I'm going to have Brett talk about that. House Joint Resolution 10 was one that was a resolution to the FCC complimenting them or encouraging them to continue their investigation into some of the telecommunications problems we're having here in the rural areas. This resolution, while it failed, I think it also pointed out to a number of the legislators the problems that are going on out there in the rural areas. And one of the interim topics, I think, will be a discussion about some of the telecommunications issues, especially on the federal level. House Bill 7, the Voluntary Livestock Identification Program, died on Committee of the Whole. There just wasn't enough time there, and I don't think there was really enough support for that bill to push it through. Whether this bill will be back or not will remain to be seen, but I think there's going to be some effort in the interim to look at this topic as far as whether the Livestock Board could do some of the things that they wanted to do and do it without legislation. Of course, the big thing for us was the Senate File 41, the Wolf Management Bill. And the Wyoming Farm Bureau Federation, along with a number of other groups, supported the governor's efforts and the legislative changes in the law. This bill passed through both houses with very little debate, actually, and just some very minor amendments to it. And the governor did sign that bill. I think it was early on the afternoon of Wednesday, the 7th of March. Anyway, we had a pretty good session there, and I'm going to turn the program over to Brett to talk about a few topics as well as some interim.
Thanks, Ken. As Ken mentioned, House Bill 34, a bill that died, dealt with subdivisions and planning for future schools. The bill was essentially pretty benign by the time they got done removing the requirements of reserving land for future schools. It essentially just said that school districts need to plan for future schools. So essentially the bill wasn't going to do anything, so the bill died. Excuse me. Senate File 19 deals with predator management districts. This outlined who can serve on the board, that you have to be paying predator fees to be eligible to be sitting on the board, and it also dealt some with the refund provisions. The refund provisions, it's unclear on how much, if out-of-state livestock producers that just come in for the summertime, on their status of getting refunds from the predator fund. So that will be an interim topic that we look at this summer. Senate File 65, this bill provides $200,000 to the Wyoming Department of Agriculture to do applied research programs. Concerns that are we doing a duplicate program? Should the University of Wyoming Cooperative Extension be doing this? This is just a 2-year program. We'll see how it works. We do have language in there that the Department of Ag has to consult with producers groups and other nonprofits to find out what topics are worthy of being researched. These interim topics are not finalized yet, but some of the things they're probably going to look at is eminent domain and regulatory takings. There's still a lot of concerns out there that these common carriers aren't negotiating in good faith, and we're going to take a quick look at pipelines and see what we can do to strengthen the private landowner position. That might become quite a topic. It was 6 years ago, so we'll see where we go on that one. The Revenue Committee and the Transportation Committee are going to look at funding for Department of the Transportation. The DOT is estimating that they are falling farther and farther behind on maintenance of roads, and it's felt by some that they need more funding, so we're going to look at possible increases such as fuel tax increase, tolling, and ton-mile fee increases. In the Ag Committee, they're going to be looking at federal natural resource issues, how that affects the Wyoming economy. And this is in the Agricultural Committee along with the Minerals. Those are the two committees that deal with most of the uses on federal land. The Wyoming Department of Agriculture is also going to look at licensing of pesticide applicators. Out-of-state applicators can have a reciprocal agreement, but there's no way to stop somebody from getting a license in Wyoming if they've had their license pulled in other states. Also, there's some interest in looking at a commission style of management, much like the Game and Fish and Transportation Commission work, and predator refunds and large game damages. And some of the state land issues will be, should we be funding conservation easements with state money? What more can be done to help mitigate the pine beetle problems? Some common carrier pipelines, and there's also going to be looking at the state engineer on how they define what beneficial uses of water are. This is our final segment for 2012. The 2013 session will be a 40-day session, which will kick off in early January, so we look forward to seeing you then.